All right, so Ange from Ampere Business Solutions joined the Down to Business podcast today. And one thing that truly impressed me about her was just the range and versatility that she has. So she's worked with a host of different clients, all different types of industries. But nonetheless, that really just goes to show her skill set, her knowledge base, just truly the work that she puts in when it comes to, helping you and helping you elevate your craft. So she recognizes that, a lot of her clients have great potential. They may just, need some extra steps, need some extra resources to really plug in and really get where they're going. So we talked a lot about that. She broke down some of her goals that she's looking forward to in her business. And after celebrating a year, what's really next on the docket and the horizon for Ampere Business Solutions. So without further ado, enjoy episode 103. With problems come solutions. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Down to Business podcast here with Tamar Turner. I'm very, very, very excited to be sitting down with Ange today. Definitely somebody whose content I've been watching for quite some time, somebody who's been doing some great things, even amidst the pandemic and just with everything going on. Y'all know I say it often when people have asked me how I'm doing lately. Life has been life. And, if it can happen, if it can go wrong, if they can throw a monkey wrench in the plans, it will certainly happen. But that hasn't stopped her goals, that hasn't stopped her assistance and everything that she's been able to do. But I'm really excited just because I feel like a lot of what she does, a lot of what she promotes, and a lot of what she offers can definitely be of use to almost everybody listening to this episode in some capacity. So definitely encouraging y'all to tap in with her, learn a little bit more. I'm sure that she has no problem making herself a resource and opening herself up and not only teaching you more, but helping you how she could. So she was somebody who definitely, I love when people apply the pressure to me. I love when, because sometimes I miss things. Sometimes I'm watching you. Sometimes I'm liking the content, I'm following, I'm subscribed, but I won't say anything. And it's not even because I don't have a reason. It's really just, I just enjoy it sometimes, being that a lot of times I get caught up between both my personal page and the podcast page. I just miss things. I try to show as much love as I can. I try to repost as many people as I can. But Ange was somebody who really took it the professional route. I got a very nice email from her, nice subject line, all of that, and she was very true in the subject line saying we've been overdue for a proper introduction. And just in that from there, here we are. So obviously, we were able to politic get to know one another a little bit more, but I'm definitely excited just to be sitting down with her because like I said, she does some great things. And anybody who can, in a sense, I tell people all the time, like, shoot that business shot, make it happen, do whatever you got to do. I feel like she did that in this case. And, a lot of times that has really been a benefit to me. So I'm always going to be an advocate for that. So, Ange, how you doing today? How's everything?
Oh, I am doing well, doing very, very well today. Coming off, a good restful weekend with some family and some friends. So very, very excited to be here. So glad that you're having me here for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Anybody who, wants to be a part of the vision, wants to be a part of the platform in any capacity, I'll be remiss to not add you. So for the people out there, I know that we are going to have a host of different people, some people from my side, people from your side, and then we'll have some in between, who we'll just be hearing about the episode, whatever the case may be. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? And then can you two just tell us what brings you on the Down to Business podcast today?
For sure, for sure. So, if you don't know who I am Anjanae Ferguson. I am the founder and president of Ampere Business Solutions. I help purpose driven business owners, so anybody who identifies as being spirit led or serving others. I help them work less and make more money using systems and automation. So, I think I've come from a background of people working in nonprofit, a background of people working for churches, working for spirit led schools, things like that, and the people in those spaces are always or almost always burnt out. They are almost always working 24/7 because they know that what they're doing is bigger than them and greater than them. But trying to bring everybody back to say, like, just because you're doing something powerful doesn't mean you have to be doing it from chaos. There are ways that we can move with intention, ways that we can plan ahead and adapt pieces of business models to run nonprofits with that same big business energy, right? So, what I do is I help people identify the steps that they need to take to move with intention, to bring peace, and to bring cash into their business with ease. Okay. I think a lot of people think that being a nonprofit, doing Christian work, being a kingdom leader, you have to sacrifice your dollars for divineness. But I am not one of those people, right? I believe that you can have it all. You can serve and you can make money. You can serve and you can profit. So I'm just here trying to help other people find that experience as well. Now, coming here on Down to Business podcast, I have been a fan since I believe you found me, but you were one of those people who, as soon as I started my page, it was like over a year ago at this point. You were liking and following. You were, shouting me out in lives. You were talking to me, always being that interactive person. And it was always on my radar when I really start doing this podcast thing. That's somewhere I have to be because you've been showing me love from day one, and it's only right that I show love right back, right? So I'm so excited to be here, so excited for our communities to become one and just help each other grow and get bigger as much as we can.
I can always appreciate genuine reciprocity. So no, I,
Yeah.
like I said, when I notice people are doing great things, and when I notice that they're helping others, especially within the niche that you are specifically, man, it honestly just brought back some memories for me. So something that you were talking about, where people are stretching dollars and people are doing it from a good heart, was my church summer camp, and just how a lot of times that had the finances really been there, had they not been even looking out for people, or just not really worried about really, just like you said, the work, the work
Mhm.
itself. As long as the kids are having a good time, as long as the people are coming, we can figure out the finances, we can figure out the monetary later and everything like that. But it also makes you think too that with adopting that mindset, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that, you have to add a little bit more. You definitely will be working more. The hours will be longer, the days will be longer. You'll have to figure things out. You'll have to even sacrifice, a big word, and especially something that, now that I look at my pastor, now that I look at the counselors, now that I look at the leadership, he was doing all that. They made a lot of sacrifices, and to
Mhm.
really see them, from years ago into now where they are now, I definitely think that is well deserving. Now they've been able to broadcast. They have a camera crew, they have crews set up and everything like that. And Sundays are looking really nice. So even from the camp side to the church side, a lot of things translated over. But it also just goes to show you that a lot of people are out here doing very great things, even with the lack of resources, with the lack of finances and everything, just because of the difference and the impact that it's having. So I love that you've involved yourself in that, because I feel like that's a skill set in itself. Everybody may know that, look, there's an easier way to do this. There could be a smarter way to do this, but sometimes you just don't know how, or where, or how to start. Or you can lay out a plan, but if you don't implement it, or if you don't have the right, team around you or different people, it can kind of go null and void type thing. So would you say that your upbringing, your background, kind of what you were involved in, what you were exposed to growing up, really kind of propelled you into this space? Or what was the reason why you really wanted to specifically help these types of businesses and organizations?
I will definitely say my upbringing had a role in it. I come from very strong families on both sides of my family, both very, very active in the church, but also both very active in the community. So on my dad's side, both of my grandparents were just very, very active in the church. My grandmother was a ministry leader. My grandfather was a trustee for like 35 years. And watching them go to work every day, pick us up from school, take us to church sometimes to make sure that we were doing the work, even into their 70s and 80s, right? 90s from my grandfather's story. It's just being around people who are so dedicated to getting the work done by any means, right? My grandmother on my mom's side was a born in the 1920s, a black woman from Mississippi, went to college, got a degree, became one of the highest ranking seamstress for the government in the country, and worked her way from some small town in Laurel, Mississippi, all the way up to literally the White House, where she got to sign paperwork certifying that the uniforms that were going overseas were to order or to code, right? So just from these powerful, strong people, my grandfather on my mom's side was a police officer in the neighborhood and was one of those cops that knew every single person on his beat. He went into every single establishment, got to know every single shop owner. And what they instilled in me and my parents and all of my cousins and brothers and sisters around me was that you get the work done. And I watched them work. My grandmother is still active in the church and she's 86 years old. So watching them work so hard for literally double my lifetime, watching the impact that they had with no resources, right? So my grandmother on my mother's side came from Laurel, Mississippi. My grandmother on my father's side she came from Virginia. So it's like they both went to college. They both made it by any means as black women in the South in the 20s. So if they could do it, if they can have this great impact on the city of Philadelphia, on the nation, with no resources, how much farther can my generation go with all of the resources that are available to us? I think their work ethic has definitely been ingrained in me, but trying to find a way to have that same impact without sacrificing all of those hours, without, having to choose between family and faith, without having to choose, because at this point, with the resources and the tools that we have, we can do both without burning ourselves out. So, wanted to extend that reach, wanted to take everything that I've learned, and then being in a sorority on top of that, just really, really ingrained everything in me that we have so much capacity, so much impact to reach the world, and just trying to do as much as I can to get there.
It's just always so interesting to hear the backgrounds and the upbringing, the experiences, the motivations behind a lot of why a lot of these business owners, entrepreneurs, people like yourself get into their field, their craft. It's always so, but it's never far off. Like you
Right.
said, growing up like that, seeing that, coming to that realization, yes, it would definitely want to propel me as well. It's something about grandparents just being in the church. I would say that my grandmother, she was the treasurer. My grandfather, he was the organ player. Sometimes he played the drums. He'd just fill in wherever. And now my uncle actually sings in the choir and things like that. So it's just like, it's so interesting just to see that dynamic and how that, will shape a lot of your growing up, your experiences, what you kind of think, how you want to be. But it's also kind of, it's very impressive to me and amazing that you decided to step in there and help, because, a lot of times we can look at certain situations, we can look at certain things, especially things that were involved in church, admit that certain things need work, or wow, that, I would change that, or I would do this. But a lot of times it's just talk, or it's we keep ourselves at a certain distance. But the fact that you're hitting the ground running, that you're really in the trenches, kind of doing that work and making sure that people are really capitalizing on these resources and what they have available. That's amazing, because a lot of times, like you said, what they didn't have back then, we have tenfold right now. But they would never know that. Social media is so prevalent now. Certain things like I watch, I watch people from older generations, like my grandparents' generation and higher, use technology now. It's funny sometimes. It's just like, wow, like sorry, I was actually at graduation with my grandma, and she recently got a new phone, so all touch, got the flip case and everything like that. And she looked at me and said, "All right, now it's not Apple, but I'm working my way up there." I had to laugh about that, but I'm also like, dang, my grandma is really using a smartphone right now, like taking pictures. Me and my grandma text regularly, and that was, to me, she using emojis, she doing all that. Like,
Grandma got it.
come on, grandma hit. But it's so interesting to see that transition sometimes, about how, like I said, growing up and just what they kind of were exposed to, or what they just had readily available, is nowhere near what we had now. So just amazing to see kind of that translation, that adaptation, that evolution of it all. But nonetheless, so you said, okay, got that page up and running about a year ago.
Mhm.
So how long have you really been doing this? How long would you say you've been kind of a certified business owner? How long have you been really helping people out? Did you kind of start unofficial and then brand yourself? What was that journey like to really get where we are right now?
Yeah, so I have been a side hustler for a long time. I went to school for advertising for undergrad, and for grad school, I went for strategic communications. And throughout my entire time in college and in grad school, I was freelancing. So I was freelance doing operations, freelance doing marketing for people, freelance doing copywriting, just all of these things on the back end. So I learned how to serve a person, learned how to serve my clientele, starting 2016, 2013, really, because it was right when I got to college. Coming out of college and my gap time between graduating and finding a job, my source of income was my side hustle, was freelancing. So at that point in time, I was full time freelancing then. I got a job, ended up doing all of these things, working for companies for 5 or 6 years. And then in the process, still found myself working with nonprofits on the side. Every project I had to do in grad school was some kind of marketing plan for a nonprofit. Every single time that I had to do something within my job, I worked for a Christian university. So, like our national or our annual fundraising day, I ended up doing the marketing plan and all of the things behind that. Ended up getting taking the lead on a lot of projects within my full-time job and translating what I was learning in my full-time job into the side hustle. So how long I've been doing this? I've been doing it for 8 years at this point. Didn't take the leap to actually doing it as a full-time entrepreneur until last year. So I got the call, I got the idea, the inclination, the idea to leave probably 2 or 3 years ago, and was dragging my feet. And then as the pandemic hit, things started picking up at work. Things started going in a direction that I really didn't see myself going. I had to have a conversation like, am I going to stay in this comfortable, cushy 9 to 5 job? Or am I going to take that leap and really walk in my purpose and do what I know I'm called to do? So, a series of wild events at my 9 to 5 led me to actually leaving and stepping full time into the business. So, I've been a certified business owner with the LLC with the paperwork for a year now. We just celebrated our 1 year at the beginning of June. But the experience, the years of experience go back at least 8 years.
Well, congratulations on a 1 year anniversary. That's
Thank
very exciting.
you.
Very exciting. But you really spoke to the process, and I think that there is some lessons in there, but there's really some beauty in that. Is the lessons are it's okay to everybody has a different timeline. There is no I've talked to a host of different people who some people it took a while. They've been in their craft 10 plus years, 15 plus years, 20 plus years. Some people who just got frustrated, couldn't secure things within the first couple of years, but didn't, let that stop them. Some people who've gone out of business, some people who still have not gone into business. That's really the beauty of it all. The fact that, you can kind of get on here and say that you've been doing this for 8 years, but it wasn't until the last year or so that you really said, okay, you know what? Let me get on this. That you can admit you were dragging your feet, that you can admit that, hey, you had to weigh some things out. You had to think about some pros and some cons. Do I want to stay with this 9 to 5 guarantee? I'm here, but at any point, one, I'm expendable and anything could just, like you said,
Mhm.
hell could just break loose. Or two, this is what I love. This is really what I'm passionate about. I've been doing this for quite some time now. I have quite the experience, quite the expertise. I really just need to take that leap. It's hard. A lot of times we think about our passions, we think about our crafts, everything like that. We are definitely that generation to just get up and do it, just make it happen, just, no questions asked. But we also have seen how that can be a downfall, how that can, not work out in ourselves, how we can put all of our eggs in one basket and we drop that basket. All the eggs just like that, are gone. So the fact that, in a sense, the process, the journey, it worked out the way that it should. 8 years, that was not by mistake. That was not, this was to gear up for the 1 year anniversary, for the
Mhm.
5 year anniversary, for the 10 year anniversary, to be able to help so many different businesses and nonprofit organizations and everything like that. It takes that. It takes still having that 9 to 5 until you really get where you are. You know what I mean? Because I think about that with the podcast. I think about how some people thought I was a full time podcaster. I think about
Right.
how many times I wanted to be a full time podcaster, but was I in the monetization space for that? No. A lot of times, the biggest thing was why I decided to work at Target, why I decided to go to Amazon was because I needed money. Whereas I want to travel and do events, I want to bring people on, I want to, get different equipment, travel different places, all of that. I can't do that just if I'm barely making enough to make ends meet, and then on top of it, I still have life because I told y'all life hits,
Yeah.
especially as a business owner, entrepreneur. So the fact that we had to do that, but at the same time too, everybody has that breaking point where you just come to that realization. I was unhappy at Target. I was working in the electronics department. It just was what it was. I recognized that before the pandemic, they were paying us $13. They paid us 13 through the pandemic, increased it a little bit, said, okay, after a certain point, we're going to stop it, and then they made it permanent. So it let me know that this whole time y'all could have paid us really 15,
Mhm.
and that could have been cool. It was what it was. Couldn't work over 40 hours a week, couldn't get overtime. So I was just like, wow, this is not for me. Go to a job now in Amazon in Florida. I'm just like, okay, we can get overtime now. I make kind of my own schedule. We're only working 4 days. I'm off 3 days. But then I just became unhappy. They recognize that, when you're a good driver, when you're a good worker, a lot of the BS begins to fall on you, or you have to kind of work a little bit harder to save
Mhm.
everybody else. I
Mhm.
love the job territory. Shout out to my roommate because he still put me in position. So big shout out to my boy Trey. But we had a lot of discussions about this. How at certain points when you're just not happy, it doesn't matter. How good you have it or how well they're treating you. If you wake up every day and you're just dreading it, eventually you're going to hit that breaking point. And that's what it was for me. I had to realize that this is not where I want to be. I still do need a job. I still do need finances and a way to support myself monetarily, but it can't be here. So leaving Amazon and now coming to the job that I'm at now where we work, man, it was a night and day difference. It was something that, I look back on and I'm very happy about. But I also know that while this can work to my benefit, eventually I still do want to move into that full-time space. In order to do that, I need to be setting myself up, like you said, that whether it takes that 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, 11 years, if this is really something that you dedicate yourself to, that you love, that you're passionate about, that you recognize, you know what you're doing. Because honestly, I look at the content you know what you're doing.
Thank you.
Things you make it happen, So the fact that you can do that, that's amazing. So now I hear the nonprofit organizations, I hear the businesses, I hear Philadelphia, I hear all of that. For which you can disclose, who have you worked with so far? Who have you kind of been able to assist? And then I would also ask too, so when you're, yeah, kind of a two-part question. When you're working with these businesses and organizations and things like that, for which you can disclose, are you guys kind of on like a contract, like a timeline basis? Are you kind of saying, hey, we're going to yield these results at
Mhm.
this amount of time for that? We do follow-ups and everything like that. Is it kind of just like a one-time thing? Does it really depend on the need? How does kind of that work for, like, what's that process?
Yeah. So I won't disclose businesses. I'll let my clients, if y'all want to be hype and shout yourselves out in the comments, go ahead and do that. But I will give you the kinds of industries and then break it down. So I started off when I started off working in advertising when I was working for, my first company. We were a boutique agency. We worked with everybody. And I was kind of the lead on when everything for digital, I was a brand manager. So I was everything from digital marketing to running social media campaigns to rebranding, all of these different things, right? From there to now, I've worked with so many different kinds of companies. So I think when I started out my career, I've worked with public speakers, I've worked with recovery and health centers, I've worked with um, gastric bypass doctors. I've worked with the government. I've worked with education. I've worked with like Italian food markets, discount liquor stores, churches, you name it. Some strip clubs at one point too. Like you name it, I've done it. And I knew I needed to hone in on who I really wanted to serve when I was doing marketing for the strip club and the church on the same day. Had to gather myself up a little bit together, but really understanding like, okay, on one end, I'm serving this community that's not, I mean, you could say they're added to the community in one way, but I knew that wasn't my calling. That wasn't my lane. So I had to find my lane, and knowing who I was, like we talked about, what I was grounded in, ended up serving in this nonprofit space, but not necessarily nonprofit. I like to say it's people who help people. So if you are a service provider, if you are a product based business, but you do something that enhances the lives of others, anybody who has an impact on the life of anybody else, that's my ideal client. And then when it comes to working together, I have a number of different packages. So I start off with VIP days. So it is a one on one day where you choose what you want me to do in your business. So you want me to set up your systems? Do you want to plan out a project? What do you want me to help you do in your business? It is a full day of work. We get done as much as we can get done in one day. I also have retainer packages. So if you know that, you have 14 systems, well, I don't recommend having 14 systems, but if you know you have multiple systems that you need built out, you need them out built out at a larger scale. I have what I call order your steps packages because we move with intention and we move with ordered steps. And they are longer term retainers that are a list of things to get done. And once we finish the deliverables, then the work is done versus a set of time, right? I also offer one on one coaching. So if you are a person that is just getting started in business, you need help figuring out how you're going to monetize, you need help figuring out what are the very first systems you need to put in place. You need somebody to just hold you accountable for doing the work. I offer one on one coaching for that as well. So it really depends on what the business is, what stage they are in their process. So if they're brand new or if they're a seasoned vet, and then what level of work they need done within their business that gets done.
I like that breakdown. I like that a lot. So I hear such versatility here. I hear from the gastric bypass to the Italian food markets to the strip clubs. I got to throw that in there too. So with, with with such a range and such a variety of clients, how has that how has that shaped your knowledge base? Because I'm pretty sure with each client, with each, obviously there are some who you kind of have a better idea with. You kind of know where to work. The systems are a little bit easier. It's almost like a plug and play. The consultations can be a little bit easier. But for those industries that you may not be as versed on, or for those people who come to you with certain problems where it's not like a surface level thing, how has that really impacted your process, the work that you've had to put in order to ensure they're yielding the best results?
Yeah. So to answer your question plainly, business is business, right? No matter what industry you're in, no matter what kind of person you're serving, if you're selling services or if you're selling products, You're still going to have a clientele base. You're still going to have profit and loss. You're still going to have day to day operations that you need to manage in order to make your ends meet, right? So the back end processes of every business, though it might be a different scale, they're all pretty much the same. You have to figure out how you're getting your tasks organized. You have to figure out how you're getting your manpower organized. And you have to make sure that everything is not just in your head. And that's what I help people do. So it seems like all of these different places might have, they might have different kinds of systems, but it's always going to be the same kinds of structures, right? So I said that a little bit confusing. Let me go back. It's always going to be the same kind of work. It might be different names of systems, but they're all pretty much going to do the same thing. You still need to manage your traffic, manage your people, manage your tasks. So I think understanding that I start off every project with a consultation to figure out where you are. Do you have any systems in place? Do you have do you have Google Drive? Like certain things that is levels to this, but people really psych themselves out. Like Google Drive is a tool that people aren't using. I have had to scan physical spreadsheets into computers to get people out of their binders and into a software. So it's like understanding, like I'll never forget, I worked with one client, he was an electrician. And he asked me to help him get organized. He asked me to do all of this stuff. And he came in with a Rolodex. And he said, I need my receipts and I need my contacts put into this. And I was like, I haven't seen a Rolodex since I was maybe 6, but we gonna make it work, and we made it work for him. So understanding that, you're gonna get people in different ends of the spectrum no matter what industry they're in, starting with a baseline of where they're at, understanding how the capacity of where they can go, right? He came in with a Rolodex. I'm not giving him a ClickFunnels, right? You get Google Drive, you get some spreadsheets, you get maybe one or two zaps from Zapier, a couple things automated, maybe a form, but I'm not going to give you the most complex systems because you're not going to be able to work them by yourselves. And I never want to set my clients up for failure till they can come back to me and ask me to do it again, right? Understanding the baseline of where your clients are at, where they have the capacity to go, and just finding that middle ground to get them there as quickly as possible.
Understanding the baseline of where your clients are, knowing where they have the capacity to go, and then taking it from, man, I love that. And I think that that's so, ah, I love that. Wow. I think that's so important because a lot of times, and I'm not even going to attribute this to one industry specifically. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to just speak generally because I don't want to step on anybody's toes here. But
Definitely, man.
no, we find that,
Mm-hmm.
we find that people have, different niches, experiences, background, everything like that. And sometimes they really just, like you said, they treat it business as business. But sometimes you really have to, and I'm not even going to say sometimes, I'm going to say more times than not, you really have to take a step back and realize that, you're not going to treat said electrician the same as you would somebody who already is on Google Drive or who has more organization or who is good with the Excel or everything like that. You have to recognize that it's levels to this. Exactly like you said, that everybody is at a different stage, a different phase of their business. How can you be of assistance to them? But a lot of times, I just look at different people who offer similar services or just services in general, and they just try to give everybody the clear cut thing. Whereas it's nothing wrong with, allowing people to know what you do, what you offer, how you can help, even that last line you just used, just that baseline and recognizing the capacity, we're recognizing that, look, this is where you're at right now. But that's not to say that we're going to confine ourselves to this. You're limitless. But in order for you to truly embrace the limitlessness, if that's even a word, y'all, we have to kind of, scale like this a little bit. And I see you
Mm-hmm.
shaking your head. All right, so we might have a word on that. But in order for you to, you can't just go from here to just bang. It has to, take a little, little by little. And a lot of times, some people are just trying to blow the balloon up, just get as much as you can, and it's almost like a deer in the headlights type thing. You have no, these people have no idea what's going on. You're the expert in this case, but you have to kind of, dumb it down a little bit, or give them the
Mm-hmm.
novice version, or give them the beginner's version, and really allow them to work their way up. So I think the approach that you take and how personable you are, and even sometimes it's funny, like you said, yeah, somebody pull a Rolodex in front of me. That's very interesting. But the fact that you have to work through this in order for them to get really where they are, because some people, this is their MO. This is how they operate. Maybe this even goes back to the conversation we had a little bit earlier. The way your grandparents grew up in the church, totally different from how we grow up in church. Now I look at even the evolution of Enon. Like Enon, when it first came, it's crazy. And now you look at Enon, man, they like TD Jakes. Like they like Joel also, like all them people, it's just like wow. But our grandparents look at something like that and they like, I would have never in 100 years never would have thought. You got cameras over there. How y'all doing? Y'all got the how they wow drones and it's so much that has happened, has adjusted. So I think that adaptation is so important, and I feel like I think something that's even now that I'm hearing it and kind of letting it kind of play in my head, something that really is a skill set of yours is that you have so much experience in so many different industries. At the end of the day, yes, business is definitely business, but I'm pretty sure you've had to do some outside research or you've had to really sit down and even, take a step back. People have taught you things the same way y'all have taught. It's been a process where y'all are working it, but if you kind of just stayed stuck to your guns, well, it would cut you off from a lot of, the world or a lot of the people or a lot of the organizations who may really need your help and really need your assistance. So I love that. So a year in, shout out to you again for that. That's
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank
Before you get to the 2 year mark, because it'll happen before you know it. I'm almost at the 3 year mark. This is
you.
so before you get to your 2 year mark, what is something you want to knock off the bucket list for your business?
I have so many things. I have a
Talk
whole
about it.
get it off the wall.
Oh, she got
I
it on the
got a
wall,
vision board.
y'all.
Yeah, if I can. Last time I took it down, I took the paint off the wall and I did it again.
Uh-oh.
So I have my vision board. It's always within reach because my dreams are always within reach. And I have it right above the light because when I turn my light on, I'm powering up my vision. Um, I got a lot of little quirky things like that I do, but it keeps me grounded and it keeps me focused. So there's 9 things on my bucket list for the next year. I'm not going to go through all 9 because that's a lot of them, but the 3 at the top are keep God at the center of everything we do. I'm a faith based business and I don't want to lose sight of what I started for the dollar. And I feel like that is, especially going into this space of I'm growing rapidly, I'm having clientele come in. It's very easy to lose sight of why you started for that cash because it's flowing, right? So keeping myself grounded in that. I want to impact 50 lives and businesses for the better as paying clients. So I do a lot of free things, but I know that I have the capacity to serve at a higher level when I'm paid because I like getting paid my worth, right? So serving at least 50 business owners in this next year and then consistently hitting 10K cash months, not 10K revenue, 10K profit. That's my goal. Those are my 3 top goals for the next year.
Come on now, I love that. And those three got me fired up. So I know the six got to have some fire to them. But okay. So 2 year mark. So we're gonna be keeping tabs on you. We definitely I'm excited. Even now too with my I'm debuting my Where Are They Now series next month. So
Yeah.
we're just checking up back on each series a month. So by the time we get to yours, oh yeah, we gonna have some updates. We're gonna be 2 years and we gonna do all of that. But I think that that's so important. Like you said, one, keeping things in reach so that you can see it. It's right in front of you. I never really realized how important it was to just put an eye on things sometimes, to just be able to visualize it. Man, it'll do numbers for you. But then again, too, I like what you said, that light, you powering it up. Yeah, I like you say quirky, but I like that. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, I be stealing some gems and stuff from some of the interviewees on
As
this
you
podcast. Y'all
should.
probably know, but I'm gonna just tell y'all now. Yeah, y'all say some fire on here. So sometimes I gotta drop it in the notes, or when I'm editing the episode, I might write something down real quick. It might be tweets out there from y'all. Look, but I'm gonna just let y'all know that no, everybody's mo or how they operate or what works for them. It's important, but at the end of the day, we see so many centralized themes. We see so many similarities and things like that. Man, it just goes to show you that when you're in this field, when you're really making it happen day in and day out, you're not really too far off, because like you said, some people kind of come to you and they think that they're just a one of one, or they think that they're just so unique, or that no, this can't be broken down into a system, or your consultation. Even I'm not going to lie, like even when I kind of first started, I would kind of shy away from feedback, or not feedback, but I would kind of shy away from putting my business in front of people
Mhm.
who could help me, who could offer a consultation and things like that. Because I would just be like, well, if you're a consultant, a makeup brand or a hair brand or a
Mhm.
clothing brand or whatever have you, well, how can you help me? I'm a totally different, but little do you know that's almost me being disrespectful to them, limiting their expertise. Like you said, when they came to you with the gastric bypass, that didn't stop you from taking on the strip club client just the same. But I think that that's so important, because that's even a message I had to tell myself, that look, the help is there. Put yourself in front of it. And even if you come to that particular person and they may not be able to help you, they'll find it. If they're truly about their craft, and like you said, that you're doing things for free and you're really making things happen, they'll find a way to make something shake for you. So I love that. So for everybody out there, for everybody who, knows about a lot of different businesses, knows about a lot of different people who offer consultations, who offer services, may even know some people who offer systems. Because I feel like you're really the first person who I've talked to who really gets into this system thing, which I'm very interested to learn more about. I definitely want to talk to you offline about that. For somebody kind of coming to you, wanting to know what they'll get out of this experience if they come to you with their business, can admit that, hey, my business needs help. We can definitely
Mhm.
be doing better. We can definitely sit down, plan some things out, but I have goals, I have visions, and I want to really, I recognize my capability. I just want to get there.
Mhm.
What do you really, what is almost like your, I kind of call it like a Shark Tank pitch, but what do you tell people to ensure them that they know the experience with you is one of a kind?
That's a loaded question. So for me, it's standing in who I am every single time they see me. So by the time somebody gets on the phone with me and they're ready to talk to me, you see me on live, you see me on TikTok, you see me on Pinterest, you see me on podcasts. You've already gotten a feel for what I do because I'm staying on this content like my life depends on it because it does, right? It's my livelihood. By the time you get to me, I need you to have an understanding of I was working with a graphic designer and he used the words no nonsense. I'm not one of those people who's just going to say, okay, you give me $50,000 and I'll come back to you with a template in 6 weeks. I want to hear how you work. I want to understand why you make decisions so that when we're structuring your business, it is flowing based on how your brain functions, not how I think things should go. Right. And understanding that there's always a way to optimize, but if it's out of alignment with who you are and how you run as a business, it's not going to work. There are so many people who are just giving cookie cutter strategies. They're giving you the templates that they use for whatever products or whatever services they do, not understanding the niche that you've been in. But for me, I've worked with so many that I know the little things like, okay, you do salon services. Maybe you should try Vagaro over whatever you're booking with. Okay, you are an author. Maybe you should use Dubsado over Honeybook because they have different kinds of means to do their trials. Okay, you are an electrician, maybe we should structure your website after a thumbtack because people are used to going on these websites and finding their needs and getting them met. So it's understanding that I'm not going to come to you with a cookie cutter approach, but I'm also not going to play about my time. So you have to show up and be just as about it as I am because I'm not going to just be sitting here babying you, coddling you. Now I'm going to treat you like a human being, but we're going to get down to this work and we're going to get down to this money because that's what we're about. So understanding that by the time you get to me, if you're not ready to move, we're not doing nothing together. And once you decide you're ready to move, it's only up from here.
Whew!
Maybe
Yeesh.
I should go on Shark Tank.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. You, man, I don't know how many people about to turn your way after that. You ain't ask for no money right then and there. You got me. Sign me up. You know, like
Right.
you said, man, you have to. I can't want this more than you. I can't take this more
Right.
serious than you, and I'm not going to just throw stuff at you. I think that that's crucial.
Hmm.
Anybody can just, I could come up with a podcast course. I could
Right.
literally give you step by step of the websites I use, equipment I use, everything like that. It
Hmm.
just might not work for you though. What if you don't like talking in front of microphones, or what if the head,
Right.
what if you prefer in ear headphones, or what if you like backgrounds that are a little bit more like not as plain. You like stuff an aesthetic or things like that in the background. I have to. You said it best. I have to know how you work because once I know how you function, how you work, how you approach your business, that's gonna shape everything that I throw at you. I'm not gonna throw two people the same thing if one of them is all about it, waking up, making it happen late nights, early mornings, and the other one is just barely scraping by. He only checks in when you check on him. You kind of feel like you're forcing him to take it serious. No,
Exactly.
y'all still gonna get to work. We still gonna get down to business for sure, but I'm gonna approach you a little bit more lackadaisical from my end and put the ball in your court if I know that you're not really showing, because I can't want this more than you.
Right.
I have
And
my
the thing about me, I don't know how to match energy. My energy comes out how it comes out regardless. So if I'm coming and I'm excited, which I do, I come prepared. I come with spreadsheets. I come with my homework done and I show up 5 minutes early. If you're not coming with that energy, I'm not coming down to your level. I'm just leaving. And I think I've witnessed so many business owners, and I think you sparked a thought in my head when you started talking about it. I've worked with so many clients or talked to so many other business owners who have worked with these people who are just creating courses and throwing them at them. And when I say like, I mean like big names, $50,000, $100,000 courses. And the beginning of the course is here's how you set up an Instagram page. And it's like, homie, I found you on Instagram. Like, I already know how to do that. So you have to be so mindful. Like, it's so much clutter out here. It's so much madness. I never want to be a part of that madness.
You on it. I can definitely tell. You a vet. You're not new to this. You true to this. But I think that that's so important. That approach will, it will speak miles for what you do, for the work ethic, for the craft. It'll get to the point where, like you said, people not gonna question the work. That's Ange on that. Oh yeah, come on. I don't even. Let's not. Even, you saw what she did with them last. Come on, man. She only been doing it for man. Sign it up, make it happen. But it gets to a point like that where it's people like you who apply that pressure, or like you said, you just give your energy, and it intimidates people. But that also, that could be indicative of how serious or not so serious you were taking your business, or really, or what are you in this for? Because a consultation can quickly determine your true
Mhm.
rhyme or reason for something. Very quickly, I've learned that they can ask 2 or 3 questions, and you just like, well, I really don't know. That's really a good question. I really just thought, this was kind of like a one hit type thing. I saw my boy doing that. I said, you know what, I can make this happen. Your boy is in it for a totally different reason. Ange is in it for a totally different reason. Tamara's in it for a totally different reason. Why are you in it? So I think that should always just be the centralized thing behind. Yes, you can definitely have your motivations. You can definitely have your inspirations, goals, visions, all of that. Your why is that's unique to you every single time, and no matter what facet of life you're in. So I love what you have going on, man. I'm very excited for people not only to tap into this, but I'm excited to tap in with you offline. I feel like we done tapped in so much now, and this is really the time we
Honestly.
really got to sit down. But the content has just been that much informative. It's been good. It's been consistent. You really make it happen. So I definitely think that, like you said, we were long overdue for this. So I'm
Yeah.
excited that we got to sit down and chop it up today. So before I allow you to pretty much tell everybody where they can find you, where they can tap in with you, all your services and everything like that, do you feel like there's anything we haven't touched on today? Any last words that you may even want to leave for other business owners, entrepreneurs, nonprofit owners out there, or anything of the sort?
Yes. Which one am I going to use? Because, I can ramble. I can go on and on for hours. But I'm going to, the last words, I guess, that I'll leave with, or the last thought, and I wanted to touch on this earlier because you brought it up when you were talking about, seeing people doing the work and not wanting to necessarily put your business in front of others, right? We as Black people, we as people who are dedicated to helping others, try to put so much on our backs. We try to be the strong friend. We try to do it all. We don't want to burden nobody. And it doesn't have to be that way, right? I think along my journey, the biggest lesson that I've learned is that my worth doesn't come from doing it all. The worth is inherent in the work that I'm doing. And if you know that the worth is already there, you don't have to prove yourself to anybody. You don't have to go above and beyond just to say that you did. You go above and beyond because you know that impact is greater, right? And understanding that as business owners, as CEOs, as people who are side hustling, as whatever you're doing, you don't have to put it all on your back by yourself. Asking for help is not an issue. You are not a burden because people like me, I'm here because I enjoy helping other people. I enjoy coming into somebody's chaos and madness because a lot of the times that's what it is. And hearing that sigh of relief, like, I don't have to be like this anymore. Like for me, that gives me so much joy seeing how people can change their lives, seeing how people can break down these constructs of making money has to be hard, can break down these constructs of if I want to make it, I got to hustle and I got to grind 24/7. You don't. You think Jeff Bezos is hustling and grinding 24/7? He's on somebody's yacht. He's taking trips to space. You know what I mean? So understanding that we don't have to do that. There's so many examples and so many opportunities for us to see it a different way and for us to live it a different way. So don't feel like you're a burden. Don't put it all on your back. Use your resources and you'll go so much farther, so much faster.
She hasn't said much I disagree with, y'all. I don't think anything that's kind of been, from Ange today, I can't object. I can't argue. I can't, I don't even want to, but she's really, given what I feel like a lot of past interviewees would I've given, what we all, everybody who preaches to that choir has been trying to give. It's just a matter of us, embracing it, applying it, but keeping it, staying consistent. Because it's one thing, you know, we have our spurts, especially as African Americans, you know, where we
Mhm.
just get in grind mode or just get locked in or just get tunnel vision or why we get motivated or different things like that. And then we slowly but surely just get a little stagnant or maybe get a little
Mhm.
comfortable or yield some results. Stop. Nah, the results, the all of that, the success, that should, if anything, that lights a fire. When I hit 100 episodes, all right, I got to get another one off. When I hit
Right.
10,000 plays, all right, I need 10,000 more. Now I got to do it. When I see people getting giveaways, all right, come on, I want to, let's let it should constantly, you know, because the minute you start to just get comfortable, or the minute you know you get where you are, you're happy. It's okay with being happy. Celebrate yourself, give yourself grace. I'm not saying any of that. But I'm saying, remember that feeling. And if you want that to keep continuing, you got to keep up in the end. You keep up in the score,
Mhm.
keep making it happen. So I think Andrew can be a great resource for that. And if she can't directly be a resource, I'm pretty sure that throughout her host of expertise, throughout her host of connections, throughout her network, she'll be able to point you in the right direction. So I don't say this lightly, but tap in, y'all. There have been so many gems dropped today. She taught me a lot that I know even when I'm going back to edit this, I'm going to be like, dang, there it is. I gotta, you know, I gotta get that and have to happen. So I want everybody listening to this. I want everybody who taps in and tunes in to definitely get some value from this. And if you can't plug yourself in, plug a friend in, plug a family member in, plug somebody in, you know, who can make this happen. Because we all we got. I say that so strongly, but I mean it, man. We really are all we got. And the minute we get out our way,
Right.
man,
We all we got, but we all we need.
we all we, and that's what I'm saying, man. And that's all I'm saying. It's here. It's here. I'm telling you. So, Ange, no, truly, I thank you. I thank you once for just being so consistent, for being you, for tapping in with me, for reaching out, for putting that pressure on me, for us
Mhm.
making this happen. But I thank you for everything that you're not only going to continue to do with local businesses and everything, but I know that this is going to be such a grander scale at some point. I'm excited for your year two goals to get knocked out of the park, and I'm excited to
Thank
see what
you.
the other six are as you continue to make it happen. So, thank you. Thank you for opening yourself as a resource to my network, to my people, for joining my platform. So before we officially close out, can you just tell everybody, one, where we can tap in on you, best place to reach you on social media, website, everything like that? Because I want the folks to get right with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thank you for having me. Thank you for applying pressure. You was applying pressure too, because I said I have to be like that is one of the things I have to check off my list. I had to be here. You your episodes have given me so many gems. Like it was certain things that I was thinking about that I wanted to say that we didn't even get to, but we have a lot of your episodes have given me just so much information and so much, like you said, pressure to keep going and so much energy to move my feet and to do what I got to do. So thank you for your platform. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you are looking to tap in, I'm gonna spell a lot of stuff for y'all now, so you got to keep up. Get your pen and paper ready. So we are Ampere Business Solutions. Ampere is Ampere. Ampere Business Solutions on Instagram, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. And on TikTok, you can find me at Expert Anjanae, Anjannee. Anjannee. I've been spelling that name my whole life, y'all. You can also check us out at amperebusinesssolutions.com. I am on the brink of a relaunch, so I'm so, so, so excited for y'all to see some of the new and improved content that we have coming for you. Only bigger and better things from this point forward.
All right, y'all heard it. I'm gonna make sure I spell everything out because I got it'll happen. But no, Ange, thank you so much. I appreciate you being a resource. I appreciate you for tapping in with me and even getting knowledge and gems from everybody who's come before you. And even I know those who will come after you, you'll definitely tap in with them too. But like I said, I don't say this lightly to anybody listening, to anybody who caught a glimpse, a snippet, any part of this episode. Tap in, man. Definitely, I definitely do think that she's here to help. She's here to point you in the right direction. She's here to even, take what you're doing, not to say you're doing anything wrong, and just amplify it and just say, hey, well, let's cut that corner. Let's make this happen. All to take it to another level. So, to everybody out there, man, who continuously shows us love, who continuously makes this happen, I appreciate y'all. So much more coming, man. Halfway through the year is crazy. Stay safe, stay blessed, keep working. This has been another episode of the Down to Business podcast here with Tamar Turner.